Hey, people keep stealing my Amazon packages. Ah! What's up, Mr. Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to be doing two reviews. But the first one will be a quick movie review of the Thai art house film from 2006, Syndromes in a Century, or in Thai, I believe it's called Sang Satawat. So yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna watch this YouTube video because nobody watches reviews anymore. But and I also wrote a very lengthy letterbox review on letterbox that I put a lot of thinking into. I wrote it for a while, and yes, but the reason why I'm making this video is because this is such a goddamn good film. This is such a great movie, and it's so great that I want to specifically film myself talk about it so that more people could know about this film. So Syndromes and a Century, or Sang Satawat, is a film written and directed by Thai director Apichatpong Setakul. And he is well known for slow films, meaning that his movies are all extremely, excruciatingly slow. Nothing happens in his movies, and all the shots are insanely long. And his movies tend to get slower and slower the more he directs. So the first film I've seen from him is Uncle Bunmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives, which I watched last year, and I was really afraid to watch that movie because I was scared that I would fall asleep, that I would not understand and fall asleep and just not like the movie. But the result is the complete opposite. For some reason, I was just at the right time, at the right place, with the right mood to watch Uncle Bunmi, and that film really transported me to a spiritual place. It transfixed me, it hypnotized me, and I ended up loving the film. And the more I think about Uncle Bunmi, the more I love it and the more I want to rewatch it. Earlier this year, or I believe late last year, I watched Memoria, and it is a very interesting change in direction for Apichatpong Setakul, aka Joe, because he decided to make a film in Colombia with the British actress Tilda Swinton. And the result is pretty good. It's nowhere near as good as Uncle Bunmi, and it's way slower and it's way more challenging of a film, but it's still very interesting. It's still a very interesting exploration into magical realism. So, as you can probably tell, I enjoy a lot of slow movies. But usually I don't. There are definitely slow movies out there, like, Once Upon a Time in Anatolia or Damnation, that I watch and I'm like, man, I just don't quite get it. But then you have slow films from Asia that I really, really enjoy, that really hit the right spot for me, just scratch the right itch for me. And Apichatpong is exactly that kind of director. He makes very slow films, but for some reason, it's just the perfect kind of slowness. It's slow, but it's hypnotizing. It lures you in. It's meditative, and it's slow, but you would think that every single shot, every single camera angle, every single camera movement is very artistically intentional. Every single cut, every single musical choice, they're all very specific artistic intentions. And that's what makes his films so damn good. Now, as expected, given that Syndromes in a Century happened before Uncle Bunmi, Syndromes is way more accessible of a film. The shots are shorter, the camera movements are more abundant, the story is easier to understand, frankly, and there's no deep concept. Uncle Bunmi is a very spiritual film about mortality. Syndromes is not that deep. It's not that deep, bro. It's about hospitals. It's about a hospital in a rural place in Thailand and then a hospital in a big city in Bangkok. And so it's about two hospitals and life in the hospital. That's really it. And because of that, I kind of like this film a little bit less than Uncle Bunmi because I really love the spiritual element of Uncle Bunmi. I love the demons and the ghosts, but Syndromes in a Century is, in contrast, way more realistic. But I do still really like the occasional dabbles into spirituality that Syndromes has as well. And also, Syndromes in a Century feel less artistically intentional and more loose and naturalistic, which is also a vibe, but just not as um, beautiful and precise as Bunmi. Now, the first half of Syndromes in a Century is a very lovely film about a hospital in rural Thailand. The vibes is just very lovely because a lot of people are nice, they're chatting to each other. It's a very feel good movie. It's very chill. There's a monk who was being operated on by a dentist. He's sitting on a dentist chair, and they were just chatting. And the monk was like, "Oh, I actually never planned to become a monk. Like when I was young, I wanted to be a DJ." And then the dentist was like, "Oh, I'm a singer." And they're just chatting. And that conversation has nothing to do with the plot, but there's something so chill and so lovely and wholesome about this conversation that makes me like want to visit a hospital in rural Thailand. And just the cicadas, the swaying leaves, the inconspicuous Buddha statue in the back. The whole thing is very calming. There's a musical number that sort of punctuates between the first half and the second half, similar to Memoria, that does the exact same thing. Similar to Bunmi, there's also a légèreté moment where we suddenly enter a photo slideshow, which I think is really cool. But yeah, there's a definitely a sense of humor in the first half that I totally did not expect from Apichatpong Widasetakul. Another monk was talking about how he dreamed of becoming a chicken, and the chicken like cursed him, and it's really fun. So that's the first half. It's pretty good. Now we enter the second half, which is the more challenging part, because the second half of the film is essentially exactly the same as the first half. All the characters, most of the characters, and most of the dialogue are the same, except the place is completely changed. Now we're in the city, and I didn't know that before I watched Syndromes. I didn't know that the second half is basically the first half, but a remake of the first half. And I thought this is a really interesting idea, a really brilliant idea of just taking one story, but what if we change the whole location and replay the whole thing all over again? But this time around, it's much more different because everyone's cold blooded, uncaring, everything's empty, clean, and soulless and lifeless and sad and depressing. And all the caring, wholesome conversations, like the dentist is a singer and the monk wants to be DJ. That conversation did not happen. The monk checked his teeth and then just like left. Like he didn't want any of that. And there's this romance in the first half that's really nice and lovely. In the second half, it's gone. There is a romance, but it's flat, banal, meaningless, and it's suddenly really dry and empty. Like you can really feel the contrast. One shot that really stuck with me is a doctor suddenly staring at the camera, and then the camera sort of like slowly backs off. And then there are these drony sliding shots where suddenly we cut to a Buddha statue outside of the hospital, and the camera would be like, whoa, and you would hear this drony music in the back. Suddenly, it's not a warm, loving Buddha. Suddenly, it's alienated. And yeah, so the message so far is, the rural side, great. Modern life, sad and boring. But Apichatpong basically doesn't end in that conclusion because Apichatpong still manages to sneak in a couple of nice moments in the modern life, but most importantly, the ending of Syndromes in a Century is basically this 10-minute long montage of shots of outside the hospital, the park, people running, jogging, resting, monks playing with drones, and then suddenly you hear some cheeky, fun music, and then we cut to a crowd of maybe 50 something, maybe 100 people dancing in the park, like dancing aerobics. Holy shit, this is such an amazing ending to a film. Oh my god. Because this ending is essentially Apichatpong telling us, hey, but life goes on. Like, yeah, modern life is sad and plain and empty, but it goes on, C'est la vie. And it's so cheeky and fun, and it's such a surprising left turn. It's honestly my favorite part of the movie. So, and in fact, before I watched this film, I already saw the YouTube clip of the ending of the movie, and I saw it so many times. I just freaking love a musical ending. And yeah, also one more thing I forgot to mention in my Letterboxd review is this film apparently underwent censorship from the Thai um, movie association, and they tried to censor the scenes where the monks play guitar and play with a drone, because monks are not supposed to do that. They want to censor scenes where the doctors kiss and drink, but those are so mild. It's nothing crazy, yet they want to censor it, which is ridiculous. And to protest against that, Apichatpong decided to just put a black screen on those scenes when they play theatrically in Thailand as a form of protest instead of just cutting them out. So, you know what? I stand with Apichatpong. Fuck censors. So, yeah, feeling liked decent 9 on this. Really enjoyed this one. So, have you watched Syndromes in a Century? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.